Welcome once again to another episode of Everything We Do is Magic, or as I call it, Udom. It's been kind of an exciting week from a personal standpoint. We're getting ready for our Sawwind Market, the launch of the CSA from Galloway Place Farms, and I'll be hopefully getting some video from that this weekend, and we'll post it on the Galloway Place Farms CSA site and start producing some videos there showing what we're doing with the CSA. But we're really excited. We've got at least 6 vendors lined up right now for the market, and as soon as I finish cutting this video, I'm going to go in and do some more promotion, Facebook and Nextdoor and all the social media thing. But the other thing that's been exciting for me this week personally is if you've seen my videos, you know that one of the biggest influences upon me to go the chaos magic route was Condensed Chaos by Phil Hines, where he talks about quantum physics and how basically the quantum physics, the science behind chaos magic. And in this past week, I have seen so many articles that have come out that tied in to not only what I've come to understand, but also some of my own deep feelings about the quantum world and quantum entanglements and things like that. It's just verifying. And when I say verifying, I mean this is not some new thing. In fact, everything that's being verified is just is an ancient wisdom. I'll give you an example. In the Bible, in the book of Genesis, it talks about Adam when he names the animals. But if you look behind the words in that, it is actually that everything that Adam called the animal, it became. So that Adam was actually sharing in the creative process. And that's pretty much what happens. We've seen with quantum entanglements, in that our intentions carry forth into the real world to create. Just like last week when I was talking about dealing with negative energies, whatever you think on, whatever your energies go towards, we are a creative force. We are the I am. I read personally from the Tanakh. The Tanakh is it's still a translation, which means it's still a commentary on the original text, but it comes from a decidedly Jewish understanding of the words. So it's as close, I think, to the original translation as is possible. And one of the things they talk about is about God breathing his breath, his energy, his being into Adam, so that Adam became a little God. It carries forward into what we call the New Testament with the teaching of the mage from Galilee, who said, "Are you not gods?" He said, "If you've seen me, you've seen the Father. I and the Father are one." All of these, the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom is within you. So here's this being formed of the matter that was created in, I'm not going to get into the whole 2 creations thing. That's really, really interesting if you want to check out some Jewish mysticism and understand that. So first of all, I want to talk about the garden and outside the garden. The garden is actually inside of us. It says that when God breathed his breath into Adam, he breathed into his nostrils the soul of life. If you follow me, you know how important breathing is, because we're actually in breathing exercises in your meditation, because you're actually taking in the very essence of life itself. And so then he puts him in a garden inside of himself, where everything that he desires, everything that he needs is there. All the plants, all the animals, all this. But because we are part of the, we are a little fragment of the hologram. As I said, every piece of the hologram reflects the entire hologram. because all of that is in us. We have this creative desire. So then what happens is Adam is brought forward to, all these animals are brought before him, and what he calls them is what they become. What he calls them, they will be that way henceforth. So he's using the creative process of words. Now again, this is not a literal understanding. If you want some really good in-depth knowledge and in-depth study about how these books, these religious books, were brought forward from even more ancient traditions, I'll link below Andrea The Witch. She's started a new podcast. She started doing some YouTube stuff, but really on point with all of this. So this is all an allegorical story to bring forth this understanding of what's going on. So here's Adam, who's exhibited this creative force and done all these things, and he's in this garden. And this garden is our id. It is the life within us, the creative field within us. It is God in us. It is the kingdom of God. It is all of these things. It is divinity within us. And what happened with the fall, as we say it, is that ego expressed itself in that Adam started looking outside of himself for justification. And that is the beginning of the end for all of us. Because as soon as we go outside of ourselves for justification, we're doing what we talked about last week, and we're judging. And once you judge something, you send an energy in that judgmental direction. That's why it's so important to understand the concept of no good and no evil. That it just is. It's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It just is. And to be able to, as Adam originally did, to call it what we desire for it to be. Now, it's an interesting fact that scientists have been able to actually record, or actually play back, words that have been recorded onto solid objects such as a rock or a tree. That that our words actually have a genetic imprint upon those objects. So that, what is it about our words? It's a vibration, but it's also because it comes with that breath, because you can't say a word without the breathing. And also, the words carry emotion. So when we operate from the id, this place of peace, this place of I have enough, this place of abundance, our words carry forth abundance, they carry forth peace, they carry forth wholeness. But when we operate from, as Adam did, again, this is an allegorical story, outside the garden, we operate from a place of lack, a place of need, a place of I don't have. And we're looking back upon something and saying, I don't have it because there is something someone else has. When reality, all of it is just a reflection of us. They're mirrors. As Jung said, basically, if you spot it, you got it. And so we're constantly struggling because we live in this world. We're constantly struggling with this concept of how do I create this peace within and manifest it without. Well, interestingly enough, one of the things that was verified, I've told Charlene this many times before, we talked about this, and I've said, actually, everything we experience is only a memory. Because by the time, even though as fast as our thoughts are, by the time it's gotten to our mind and we have time to think on it and articulate on it and meditate on it or whatever, the event has already passed. So we're constantly looking in a rearview mirror when we're looking outside. And just this week, quantum physics, the scientists stated the same thing, that we are living basically in memory. So how do we create. Let's just remember a different story. Start telling yourself a different story. It doesn't mean denying, again, as I talked about last week with the emotions, it doesn't mean denying that it happens. It just means that that is not the final word. That these experiences are just that, experiences. And we have created them in order to draw us back to the place of the garden, to draw us back to this place where the kingdom is within us, so that we're not moved and operate. We don't operate from the outside in, but we operate from the inside out. I wrote a kind of a neat little story about it on my vocal account. I'll post a link to it in the comments section, or in the section below. You can check that out as well. But again, make sure you like us, subscribe, let us know what you think. We've got more content coming on. I'm going to go through and start doing some esoteric working with the Bible, and showing how that this book, well, this is the Tanakh, the Old Testament, as they say, but the New Testament as well. They're just grimoires. They are spell books. They are ideas and concepts that we can use to create the reality that we desire. Namaste.